بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة، ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيتك بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه. السلام عليك يا من اختار الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عندك ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ وقال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوالي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل البيت وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومهدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معكم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل فقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: عزتي وجلالي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام: يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم، قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس وأهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الفاتحة.
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jamiyan. Wishing each and every one of you Kushali Mubarak on behalf of myself, on behalf of HIC. But before we start off kicking off this celebration, I'd like to offer a small couplet in Urdu before I proceed. Gulame panjatan hu main, मेरा मौला अली मौला, गुलामे पंजतन हूँ मैं, मेरा मौला अली मौला, कोई मुश्किल अगर आ जाए तो वो मुश्किल खुशा ही जाने। नारे हैदरी हैदरी हैदरी। अफ़ज़लुस्सलाम मुहम्मदिन व आले मुहम्मद। सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम, सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम, सलामुन अला अहमदिल मुस्तफ़ा, नबी बेहिद्दिनु अज़बुन सफ़ा। या अल्लाह सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम, सलामुन अला सय्यिदिल मुरसलीन, रऊफ़िर रहीम अलल मुमिनीन। या अल्लाह सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम, फरूहे फिदाहुम वरूहु इग़्सते मुहम्मद अलैहिस्सलाम। या अल्लाह सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम, सलामुन अला अहले बैतिन नबी, वलाहुमु दीनु वहुम मज़हबी। या अल्लाह सलामुन 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 सलाम, सलामुन अलैकुम फरूदुस्सलाम,
بحرمة زمزم وبيت الحرام وجاه النبي عليه السلام. يلا سلام 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 عليكم فردوا السلام. سلام 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 عليكم فردوا السلام. أفضل السلام محمد وآل محمد. أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sayyid Hasan, Rizvi, respected elders, dearest brothers and sisters in Iman, Assalamu alaikum, Jameen wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, Sallu ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Surah Fatiha is requested for all marhumin listed on the screen, as well as all other marhumin. Surah Mubarak al-Fatiha. The Washfa Maries is requested for all those in need here and elsewhere, as well as those listed on the screen. Let us recite together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 Ya Allah. The Senior Subcommittee invites all its jewels to a special event to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. This event will inshallah take place this Saturday, February 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. Please register by Thursday. Kindly contact Brother Zahir Somji, Sister Masuma Balwani, or Sister Sajida Tejani should you have any questions. Let us now invite Sayyid Hasan Rizvi to please come forward for tonight's majlis. Bar Muhammad wa Muhammad salawat.
رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا والنبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا والطبيب ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين المكرمين الخيرين الفاضلين السيدين الصادقين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين للتراب مقدمه الفداء الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman, salamun alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight, of course, on the 13th of Rajab, we are gathered here to commemorate St. Valentine's Day, right? No? Okay. It's something else, right? Yes, the birth anniversary of the Wasi of Rasulullah, the Waliullah, the true Khalifa and successor, the one that Allah had designated, Saifullah, Mula'i Ka'aba, Mawludi Ka'aba, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Now, it's not enough for us to say that he's great, because any person that's great, we always describe like that. Normally, when we talk about great personalities, we take this standard of what's normal, what's average, and we look at that individual and hold them to that standard and say, do they go beyond that normal and average standard? Meaning, if everybody is at a certain level, everybody follows a certain set of rules, we take these personalities and we hold them to those rules and see, are they beyond? Do they go beyond those rules and those standards? In other words, do they count as exceptions? And this is why we refer to Imam Ali sometimes as an exceptional individual. And many of his titles reflect this. One of them that some of the poets mentioned is that he is Madhar al-Ajaib. He's a reflection and a manifestation of things which are beyond understanding. Things which are ajib, which are marvelous, which are awesome. He's a reflection and a manifestation of that. And this system of being an exception, being exceptional, is a very specific and special technique that Allah uses throughout history. And has used it since the beginning of time. Whenever Allah wants to introduce the greatest personalities, He uses this kind of exceptional standard. Normally when Allah does something, there's a very simple methodology. Very simple set of rules that Allah follows, the sunnatullah. But once in a while, when He wants to introduce somebody great, He breaks the rules. He breaks His own principles and something exceptional comes out from there. Literally, the definition of exceptional, right? That this person, this creature becomes an exception to the rule. And when these episodes in history have taken place, there's a few different things that we understand. One is, who is this exceptional creature and creation that Allah is trying to introduce? And then on the other side, we see individuals who don't recognize that creation, that exceptional person. So Allah is also indirectly showing us who is unexceptional. When we have that standard and set of rules, we see who's exceptional, who goes beyond, and then who goes below. Who is an unexceptional individual, or who are the unexceptional groups of individuals. And then sometimes Allah also, through this whole system, tests out our system and our way of love as well towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what do I mean? Inshallah we'll discuss that tonight. If you can recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the first example where we see this idea of becoming an exception, showing and introducing exceptional standards or characteristics, is when we look at the story of Nabi Adam alayhi salam, Iblis, and the whole concept and the problem with sujood. Now, let me explain. When it comes to our ibadat, our acts of worship, there's two different categories that we have. We have some acts of ibadah, some of these acts of worship which are, in a sense, shared. They're normal acts of ibadah that you can kind of find in other people, other religions, and other cultures. Like it's a normal kind of thing. So one of them is the idea of ruku', or just bowing in general. Obviously, we have our own specific version of ruku', but if you look at other religions, for example, the Judaic faith, they have this sort of bowing that they perform at the Wailing Wall, right? It's not exactly the same as ours, but they kind of perform it over and over again. So there's a sort of bowing they do too. If you look at other cultures, as a sign of respect, they bow to one another. In martial arts, normally it's a sign of respect before you begin a match to bow to your opponent, right? So bowing, although it exists in Islam and it has a certain value, it's throughout all the other cultures as well. So we'd call that, in a sense, a shared ibadah. Other people, other cultures, other religions all have this. It's not something exclusive to us or exclusive to a specific individual. There's not one thing that kind of comes in your mind when you look at ruku' or bowing. But sometimes ibadat, acts of worship, are not shared. There's one specific thing that comes to your mind. This is what we call exclusive ibadah. A very exclusive and specific act of worship. And of course, if we were to think of the most exclusive one, the type of ibadah where if you see somebody doing it, you expect, especially for a Muslim, that there's only one thing on their mind, there's only one thing that they're focusing on, it would be the act of sujood, of prostration. Whenever somebody sees that, their immediate mind is that they have to be praying, for a Muslim, it's obviously to Allah. And we know that the famous sort of idea is sujood is only for Allah. When any of us go for ziyarah, we don't perform sujood as, unfortunately some people have this idea that we do, which we don't, that we're performing sujood to the members of the Ahlul Bayt or to these other personalities that we venerate. No, we don't perform sujood to them. That's not what we do. Our sujood, like any other Muslims, is only for Allah. This is the standard. This is the rule. But then, in this whole story of Nabi Adam and Iblis, all of a sudden this exception to the rule comes. And this is where we find our first issue. And the ayat are, there's a lot of ayat obviously talking about the story. I'll just mention one of them, which is in Surah Baqarah, ayah 34, where Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ When we said to the angels, Usjudu li Adam. We said, perform sujood to Adam, for Adam. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا Iblis. Every single one there, everybody, all the angels, they all did the sujood towards Adam, except for Iblis. Aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. Right? He was arrogant, he refused, and he's from the kafirin. When Allah wants to introduce this new exceptional type of creation, something that has never been done before, when He's introducing Nabi Adam to all of existence, everybody else understands the standard that, okay, right now in our mind, sujood is only for you, Allah, right? That you're the only creation, you're the only deity, you're the only thing we perform sajda towards. But now, all of a sudden, Allah is kind of changing the rules. He's changing the standards, and He's saying, no, right now, when I'm introducing an exceptional creature towards you, when I'm introducing something new and azim and great and grand, I'm changing, I'm making an exception to the rule, and now you need to perform sujood to Adam. So what happens? The angels all say, yes, whatever you say, we'll do it, and they perform sujood. But Iblis says, no, I refuse, I'm not going to do that. And what's interesting is what some people believe is his reasoning. Now, we all know that the reasoning was arrogance, and there's some deeper spiritual interpretations about why he refused. It's kind of funny to me when people bring up this idea that Iblis was racist. Like, that's why he didn't perform it. Like, what do you mean he was racist? Iblis was racist? Like, was he walking around, these dimensions with jinn lives matter? Like, what do you expect him? What do you mean he's racist? Like, it's weird when we take these modern ideas and concepts and we force feed it into Islam and these Quranic stories. No, he's not racist. But he's a jinn he reached this high level who's being racist towards the first human being. I don't know. This is a very weird interpretation. But khair, I know certain speakers love to talk about that a lot. The Quran is being very clear. He was arrogant. He's a kafir. That's why he refused. And again, there are some deeper ones, but we'll leave that aside. But what we see here is this. Allah introduces an exceptional individual, an exceptional creation, which is Nabi Adam, and then of course by extension, Banu Adam, meaning human beings. Allah is saying, I'm doing something I've never done before. This is something brand new and exceptional. All these human beings have the potential to be exceptional as well. When I show you that something is exceptional, I'm going to do that by making an exception to my rule as well. By saying, sujood, which is normally only for me, I'm saying you have to do it for Adam as well, in this moment. And by those who accepted it and performed it like the angels, they said, okay, we did it, they're good. They recognized the exceptional creation. But we see Iblis then showed himself to be unexceptional. Right? So again, this whole equation, Allah is introducing an exceptional individual, creation. He makes an exception to his own rule of sujood, and then by default, by extension, as a result, we see an unexceptional person or thing come out of that, which is Iblis. Now, how does this tie into the personality of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam? In the Arab culture, back then, the Kaaba had existed for obviously centuries. The Kaaba was something that pagans and people of other faiths, they came, they venerated, and they did tawaf, they offered different things to it, they respected it. It had a value for many individuals. And in another sense, it was a shared form of ibadah, right? It wasn't just Muslims that venerated it or the Deen Hanif. Everybody saw that there was value to the Kaaba, whether it was political value or monetary value or whatever. And of course, we see that there is also a false sense of ibadah that was happening as well. Because we know, of course, what was happening is the idol worshippers, the mushrikeen then, were taking their idols and they had placed it in the Kaaba. So something that originally had a specific meaning behind it had been changed, degenerated, and kind of destroyed by the actions of the mushrikeen. They had placed the idols within the Kaaba. Now, when we are thinking back to what exactly was one of sort of the main missions of Islam, a lot of people consider them, these Arabs, that when Islam came, they had to believe in Allah and then the Prophet and the Day of Judgment and everything else. But as the Quran also indicates, they didn't deny Allah. They believed in a creator, right? And the Quran says, if you ask them who created everything, they'll say Allah. They knew Allah existed. They knew that the Kaaba was Baytullah as well. What was their issue? Their issue wasn't that shared ibadah. Their issue wasn't the Kaaba itself. Their issue wasn't Allah even. Their problem was a problem of tawassul. Their problem was that they decided how the religion of Allah should look. They decided that we can't get towards Allah. We don't have this direct connection. So we've created these idols, we've man-made these idols, and we are placing them within the house of Allah, and then we'll use these to get towards Allah. And now, of course, what's the message of Islam? What happens here is Allah sends down a prophet to wipe out and destroy all of these things, meaning not to destroy the idea of tawassul, but to let them know that your idea of tawassul is incorrect. Tawassul is not the problem. Your tawassul is the problem. It's not the fact that you think that you can't get to Allah that's the problem. No, you don't have the direct connection as you think. You do need something or somebody else, but the people that you've put in there, those idols that you've put in there, they're the problem. So normally, the normal standard is nothing is allowed to be in the Kaaba. None of us can place anything inside the Kaaba. We can't create anything and make it a source of tawassul in the Kaaba towards Allah. But when Allah says, you know what, I need to introduce to you somebody that's exceptional. I want to show you someone and something that's exceptional. And when I want to introduce you to this exceptional individual, I'm going to make an exception to my rule as well. When the normal standard is that nothing belongs in the Kaaba, When the normal standard is nothing becomes a source of tawassul, I'm going to show you and introduce you to somebody, and I myself will place them inside the Kaaba. You don't get to decide tawassul, I'll tell you who to perform tawassul towards. Your idols are the incorrect ones, but I will show you that if something is going to go inside the Kaaba, I'm the one who's going to tell you what goes inside. And in fact, when this happens, this sacred house of Allah, this Bayt Allah, which needs to be protected 24/7, He'll break another law. He'll break another standard. And literally, Allah will say, this same house which I protected and wanted you, all of you, Quraysh and Arabs to protect year after year after year, I'm going to say, in order to introduce this, exceptional individual, I'll break the Kaaba, I'll split the Kaaba, I'll crack it open just so you can see who this exceptional individual is. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We had a cross, not a headery salawat there. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And you see what's happening here in this introduction is Allah wants to introduce an exceptional creation and individual. No one else has this fadilah. Again, without diminishing the status of the other prophets and the other imams. But even Rasulullah, in a sense, has what we call a normal birth. Right? Of course, he's exceptional and he has his own exceptional qualities. But because the concept of wilayah has so much importance, Allah says, I'm going to break all the rules just so that all of you Muslims understand exactly what's going on here. This idea of idol worship will go away. I'll put somebody in the Kaaba to destroy these idols. He'll be the source of tawassul. And you will see that if you do not do that, meaning if you don't understand the secrets behind why I'm putting this individual in the Kaaba, the same way I tested Iblis. Right? Some people, when they talk about Iblis, they say, Iblis is actually a great arif. Yeah. You've heard these arguments before and this reasoning? Iblis was actually the greatest worshipper and the greatest servant of Allah. Like, okay, how can you prove that? How do you say that? Because reasoning was great. Because he was following the rules. What was the rule? The rule is sujood is only for Allah. And when Allah said, do sujood towards Adam, he said, no, sujood is only for you. He said, see, this is somebody who truly loves Allah. He said, no, you are mixing things up here. You completely lost the plot. You see, this test for Iblis was specifically a test of love. Meaning, do you love the rule itself, or do you love the one who makes the rules? Are you in love with this form of ibadah, or do you love the ma'bud, the one that we're worshipping? Iblis, through this test, found out that it was actually himself that he worshipped. He didn't care about Allah. Otherwise, he would have passed this test. But instead, he said, no, Aba wastakbar. He showed his arrogance, and Allah through this test revealed, وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. He was always a kafir. But this revealed that kufr that was inside of him the whole time. All those thousands of years of worship were meaningless because it was all for himself, all egotistical worship. So now, when Allah is doing the same thing over here, saying, look, you have your certain set of rules, I'm going to come and break them. I'm going to introduce to you somebody that no one else can claim these fada'il and fazilat, these virtues, being born inside the Kaaba. When before I said, do not ever touch the Kaaba, don't break it, don't let any harm come to it, don't put anything inside of it. I will break this Kaaba and I'll put somebody inside and have him come out. Nobody else will have this status. Why? Because first, to introduce one, the exceptional individual. The second, to show that sometimes Allah can say, I can make exceptions to the rule whenever I want. And the third is to show you who exactly is unexceptional. In the fact that Iblis showed the fact that he was unexceptional, the fact that he only worshipped himself, he wanted power, it was all kufr inside of him. Now those who reject the exceptional individual show that they become unexceptional as well. So anybody else after this fact, who always would discount the qualities of Amir al-Mu'mineen, everybody after the fact would say, oh, he's just a young guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. They, by default, now become an example of وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Just like shaitan refused, you're refusing as well. Aba wastakbara. Shaitan refused, he showed his arrogance. You, by refusing to acknowledge this exceptional individual, the exception to the rules that Allah has made, you have now showed that you are unexceptional, that you have also refused, that you have shown arrogance, and you, kana min al-kafirin, you are kafir as well, and you've always been kafir. So whatever Islam that we might see within those individuals in the past means little, means nothing. And this is also a test for us as well. What are you and I worshipping? Are we worshipping just a bunch of ahkam and fiqh and rules? Or are we actually using all of these things as a means towards Allah? Is Allah the ma'bud, the actual target and the goal? Or is it no? We have become slaves to the actual ibadat itself. And that's why you see sometimes when, these people who talk about being God-centric, like, oh, it's all about Allah. Allah is the source of everything. Well, what are they really doing? Well, you're using the same logic as Iblis, right? Iblis who was saying, oh, it's all for Allah, that's why I'm not going to bow down to Adam. Like, no. When Allah tells you that there's an exception to the rule, you make the exception as well. Because the source of everything is Allah, not you. Not a system of fiqh or logic or whatever you have. The same logic that the munafiqeen used when they wanted to deny wilayah as well. Like, no, we have a system here, we don't need your system. We have a system that we've been using, we don't need your system. The same logic that's being used by individuals today who refuse wilayah, who refuse tawassul, and who refuse the exceptional fada'il and qualities of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. So just like any time in history we've seen these individuals deny the exceptional status of individuals like Nabi Adam, of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Those same individuals are doing the same thing today. And what they do is by rejecting and denying and hiding the exceptional individuals like Amir al-Mu'mineen, all they're doing is showing us how unexceptional they are. How broken and outdated their logic is, and how shaitani their logic happens to be. And we ask Allah to protect us and make sure that we are not amongst the unexceptional. That everything we do is in recognition of the exceptional status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And I'll mention one other story, inshallah, before we end. If you can recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I mean, almost every single story of Imam is, of course, exceptional. But there are some that even the urafa, they mention because it's something that, normally when you hear it, you're like, okay, is this real or not? But because it's been mentioned in reliable books, it's been mentioned by our great scholars, this is one of those stories that really shows us the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So, and I'll just, shorten the story and I'll paraphrase it. Basically, there was somebody who had come to the Prophet and he had brought, a gift to the Prophet. I think it was a bunch of animals, donkeys and camels and horses, things like that, if I'm not mistaken. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, this is a gift to you. You can do whatever you want. So Rasulullah decided that, I'm going to gift these to a deserving individual. I'm going to have a competition, and I'm going to see from amongst those who are with me right now, whoever wins this competition, I will give them this, lot of this gift that has been given to me by this new Muslim, meaning all these animals. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, what's the test? What's the competition? He said, all I ask is that all of you come, you recite 2 rak'ah of salah, 2 rak'ahs of namaz, and whoever can keep their concentration, whoever remains focused in this namaz, I will gift them all these animals that I've been gifted. And it's yours to do with whatever you want. He said, okay. So many of the ashab tried. And of course, Imam Ali was there as well, and he offered 2 rakat as well. So again, there's a lot of layers to this story. I can't go into everything, but just to get to the point. Now, over here, what is the normal standard over here? In salah, we're supposed to be focused. All of us should be, right? Hudur al-qalb, focusing on God, all of that stuff, yeah? So, in a sense, almost Rasulullah is trying to train everybody, say, look, this is the standard, this is the rule. You need to focus on your salah, focus only on Allah. That okay. So, all of the companions, they all tried, they offered the 2 rak'ah, and Jibreel was witness to all of this. So, when they had all offered their 2 rak'ats, Jibreel came, and one by one, he would mention all the different, traits and the level of focus and concentration for all the individuals who were part of the competition. And they say Rasulullah himself, because of his ilm al-ghayb and his understanding of their level of focus, some of them he already knew himself as well. So he was pretty much just kind of corroborating and confirming with Jibreel. So They were going through each companion. He said, no, this companion was focused on this. This companion, he lost his concentration after the first surah. This companion lost his concentration after the second one. And he kept going and going and going until finally they go to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And unfortunately, Rasulullah says, I'm sorry, Ya Ali, but I've been made aware that you also lost your concentration as well. You also lost your focus in your salah. And you were thinking about something else. Now, many of us might hear that and say, what kind of kufr is this? What kind of nonsense is this? This doesn't make any sense. So, Jibreel then, through Allah, tells Jibreel to tell something to Rasulullah. He says, no. Actually, you need to give this gift. And Imam Ali actually won the contest. Like, well, how is this the case? What do you mean? He said, everyone else that was focusing, their focus was about, when I want these camels, I want to win, I want to win. They were always focused on winning, right? They say the lack of focus, the thoughts that were going through the mind of Amir al-Mu'mineen was that I hope and I pray Allah, Ya Allah, that I get these camels, that I get these cows and these animals so that I can give them as sadaqah to the fuqara, so that I can take care of those who are in need. And Allah revealed to Jibreel to reveal to Rasulullah that because you did not see this thing in the heart of Amir al-Mu'mineen that I saw, he actually won the contest. Because his focus was actually pure. It was for something that I wanted, he actually won this contest. So what the ulama say is that the status of Ali is so exceptional that there are even things that have been kept from the heart of Rasulullah. This is how focused and how concentrated and how elevated the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen is. Even his focus and concentration, even certain connections that he has with Allah, only Allah knows. This is how amazing and exceptional Amir al-Mu'mineen is. And again, we can go on and on of all the different stories that exist, but inshallah we'll end here and we'll move on to our slide quiz with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Oh wait, I can't see it because I don't have internet on this laptop. Still not connecting. So I can't see anybody. What can I do? Let's try this. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Okay, so now the signs does, yeah, okay. I think I can see something, although there's going to be a little bit of sound coming out of my phone that I can't mute. Okay, that's what I had to do last time. Okay, let's see. Assalamu alaikum to Truth Always Prevail, Hamisi, Jinn Lives Matter, Labekia, Imam Muhammad Abbas, Material Growl, Mujahid J, Halal Hani, Abu Sabiha, Qambar AM, Ra'is SY, Ryder, Sub, Jabir, Qambar Yusuf. Oh man. A lot of people today. Somebody named themselves Imam Ali? Oh, that's okay. Joe Byron, MP Plato, buddies, Abu Fatima. All right, there's a lot of people. Okay, let's get started, inshallah. Okay, first question. Which corner of the Kaaba opened up for Fatima bint Asad and is still cracked to this day? Rukn al-Iraqi, Yamani, Shami, or Aswad? Ahsant. Most of you got it right. It is Rukn al-Yamani. Okay, next. How long did Fatima bint Asad stay in the Kaaba? 5 hours, 14 hours, 3 days, or 1 week? Yes, most of you also got that right. 3 days. Ahsant. Okay. The marriage between Abu Talib and Fatima bint Asad was the first marriage between two individuals who were both from Banu Hashim. True or false? Yes, 71% of you got it right. So Imam Ali is the first one who, on both his father and his mother's side, is a Hashimi, or from Banu Hashim. The first Hashimi to be that way. And last question. Which is the world's longest river? The Yangtze, the Nile, the Amazon, or the Missouri? And yep, most of you got that right too. Asant, Nile River. So most of you got most of the questions right this time. First time in history. All right, let's see who's the fastest then. Plato, Asant, 23 seconds, not bad. Alia, second place, not too far behind with 29 seconds. Specialists, 32 seconds. Specialists, 34, tied with Bande Khuda. Same thing, 4 out of 4, 34. Most of you got the corner question right, wrong. Or I guess that was the hardest one at least. Okay, so congratulations to Plato. Inshallah, we will see you all hopefully Wednesday night as we commemorate the Shahada of Bibi Zainab bint Ali alayha salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And then of course we'll continue with our normal Thursday night program where we've been talking about the concept of rizq. And then we'll have a break for next week. I think there's no events besides the Thursday night program, and then it picks back up the week afterwards. And of course, hopefully those of you who will join us for our Sunday morning Fajr programs at 6:30. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Ahl Baytih Tayyibin Tahirin.
Before we move on to tonight's Qasida, we'll have a short presentation on behalf of SOAR. For that, I would like to invite Brother Muzammil John Muhammad in the men's side and Sister Salma Dalla in the ladies' side to please come forward. Bar Muhammad wa Muhammad Salawat.
My dear mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Muzammil John Muhammad.
And I am Salma Dalla. It all started with a family dinner on a regular night where one of our patrons was talking about the impact a youth committee in Dar Salam made in her life. The committee would organize events for their madrasa and mosque and work towards enhancing leadership and interpersonal skills for their members. And then it struck them. Why not form a similar organization for the IEC Academy students?
In November of 2021, SOAR was formed. SOAR stands for Serve, Organize, Aspire, and Responsible. The aim behind SOAR was for students to serve their community while strengthening their leadership skills, and of course getting service hours too. I'm just kidding.
The SOAR team is divided into 3 layers. We start with our advisors, who are Uncle Subtain Yusuf Ali and Auntie Sukina Versi. We then have our patrons, who are Sister Sakina Jaffer and Sister Maliha Versi for the girls section, and Brother Jabir Dalla and Brother Hadi Yusuf Ali from the boys section.
Finally, the team consists of the following committees: Event Committee, Treasurer, Secretary, Welfare Committee, Fundraiser Committee, and Communication Committee.
We are honored to mention the names of our female members in our incredible team: Zainab Dewji, Fatima Alia Rajwani, Sakina Yusuf Ali, Sakina Dawdali, Sabiha Versi, and myself, Salma Dalla.
And the following are the male members of our amazing team: Muhammad Abbas Ali, Mikhail Nasser, Fayaz Lalji, Mali Manekia, Hasan Karmali, Amir Hashim, Khalil Abdul Hussein, Mustafa Jafar, Rehan Datu, and myself, Muzammil Jan Muhammad.
During the last few months, we have held a variety of events for our community. We organized a bake sale and donated our profits towards girls' education, coordinated a holiday senior donation drive for a local nursing home, held a game night, and finally, a poetry and card contest to express love for our parents. We would now like to call up our patrons, Brother Jabir Dalla and Sister Maliha Versi, to come up and present the awards for our poetry and card contest.
Today, we have the honor of presenting the incredible IEC Academy students who participated in the card making and poetry writing competition. The students were given the opportunity to show their creativity by making a handmade card or writing a poem for Parents' Day.
MashaAllah, the outstanding response to the competition ranged from pre-K students all the way to 6th graders. Before we call upon the students, can we please have our team members Sakina Yusuf Ali and Sakina Daud Ali step forward and give the awards to the girls. Our patron, Brother Hadi Yusuf Ali, and team member Fayaz Lalji give the awards to the boys.
Once you hear your name, please come up to get your awards. Please hold your salawat until all the names have been called. We start with our youngest participants from pre-K to 2nd grade. Zahra Ali Laddu, Amalia Mustafa Ali, Fatima Daud Ali, Zainab Zahra Ladak, Naina Batul Deuji, Zahra Ali, Amar Manji, Rida Merchant, and finally, Maysam Nasser.
We would now
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
We would now like to announce the winners for the 3rd to 6th grade card making contest. First place goes to Hayder Merchant. Second place goes to Zainab Dawdali. And third place goes to Ali Jawad Parpia.
Allahumma salli.
We would now like to announce the winners for the 3rd to 6th grade poetry writing contest. First place goes to Salman Jaffer. Second place goes to Ashhad Muhammad. And third place goes to Zara Nasser.
We would like to thank all those who participated in the competition. We loved seeing the creativity the students brought into their cards and poetry and appreciate all of the support that we received from their parents. We will now hand the presentation back to our amazing SOAR team.
Before we end, we would now like to invite the community to participate in our next big event, a virtual family quest. Please look out for details on the newsletter and WhatsApp messages. The flyer is also posted above on the screen. We hope to see all of you participating.
As we end our presentation, we would like to humbly appreciate IEC Academy and the HIC's community for assisting a noble cause which enriches the lives of the future generation. Thank you, and may Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
चंद लफ्ज़ हो इमाम अली के नाम पे और मोहम्मद वाल मोहम्मद सलावत। मुसल्ले पे मैंने علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا سویرے سویرے مصلی پہ میں نے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا سویرے سویرے مصلی پہ میں نے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا سویرے 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 خدا کی قسم پھر عبادت کا مجھ کو بڑا لطف آیا سویرے سویرے مصلی پہ میں نے علی کا قصیدہ جو ہی گنگنایا سویرے سویرے ملائک نے جس وقت مدح و ثنا کی فضاؤں میں گونجی صدا یا علی کی صدا یا علی کی پرندوں نے بھی اپنی بولی میں نعرہ علی کا لگایا سویرے سویرے یا علی پرندوں نے بھی اپنی بولی میں نعرہ علی کا لگایا سویرے سویرے افضل السلام محمد وآل محمد صلو علی محمد مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے سارا زمانہ ان کے در کا فقیر ہے مولا امیر ہے اجدر کھلونا تو جھولا ہے آنگن ایسا ہے بچپن اجدر کھلونا تو جھولا ہے آنگن ایسا ہے بچپن ایسا ہے بچپن خود ہی اپنا نصیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے دیکھا ہے یہ اس کے در پہ نظارہ اترا ستارہ دیکھا ہے یہ اس کے در پہ نظارہ اترا ستارہ ایسے جیسے اسیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے یا علی خیبر کے میدان میں بھی جو نہارا مرحب کو مارا خیبر کے میدان میں بھی جو نہارا مرحب کو مارا ایسا ویروں کا ویر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے قاتل پہ بھی اپنے غصہ نہ آیا شربت پلایا قاتل پہ بھی اپنے غصہ نہ آیا شربت پلایا شربت پلایا کتنا اعلیٰ ضمیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے اور توجہ چاہتا ہوں لاکھ مٹاؤ مٹ نہ سکے گا کعبے کو دیکھو لاکھ مٹاؤ مٹ نہ سکے گا کعبے کو دیکھو کعبے کو دیکھو اس میں اب تک لکیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے مولا امیر ہے خم نبی بولے سمجھو علی کو پہچانو دیکھو خم نبی بولے سمجھو علی کو پہچانو دیکھو پہچانو دیکھو یہی میرا وزیر ہے مولا امیر میرا مولا امیر ہے یا علی مولا امیر ہے سارا زمانہ ان کے در کا فقیر ہے مولا امیر ہے محمد وآل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم
شاہ مردان شیر یزدان قوت پروردگار لا فتح الا علی لا سیف الا ذوالفقار زاد حیدری
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم صلوات علی محمد وآل محمد
ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در حیدر کے علاوہ ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در حیدر کے علاوہ ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در حیدر کے علاوہ ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در حیدر کے علاوہ
ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در ہے در کے علاوہ
قرآن کہیں رہتا نہیں اس گھر کے علاوہ قرآن کہیں رہتا نہیں اس گھر کے علاوہ اس شرط پہ دی ہے یہ زبان مجھ کو خدا نے اس شرط پہ دی ہے یہ زبان مجھ کو خدا نے
اس شرط پہ دی ہے یہ زبان مجھ کو خدا نے
بولوں گا نہ کچھ مدحت حیدر کے علاوہ بولوں گا نہ کچھ مدحت حیدر کے علاوہ ڈھونڈو نہ ٹھکانے در حیدر کے علاوہ
اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وآل محمد
محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں
محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں اور آتے ہیں وہی جن کو سرکار بلاتے ہیں
شب جو آج کی رات ہے وہ ہے ہمارے کائنات مولائے کائنات امیر المومنین علی ابن ابی طالب کی پیدائش کی رات ہے. سب مل کے نعرہ حیدری
اور آتے ہیں وہی جن کو سرکار بلاتے ہیں اللہ کے خزانوں کے مالک ہے علی مولا اللہ کے خزانوں کے مالک ہے علی مولا یہ سچ ہے نیازی ہم سرکار کا کھاتے ہیں یہ سچ ہے نیازی ہم سرکار کا کھاتے ہیں
جیو
یہ لوگ خدا شاہد قسمت کے سکندر ہیں یہ لوگ خدا شاہد قسمت کے سکندر ہیں جو علی کی محبت میں میلاد مناتے ہیں جو علی کی محبت میں میلاد مناتے ہیں اس آس پہ جیتا ہوں یہ کہہ دے کوئی آ کر اس آس پہ جیتا ہوں یہ کہہ دے کوئی آ کر کہ چل تجھ کو نجف میں اب سرکار بلاتے ہیں
سبحان اللہ جیو
یا اس آس پہ جیتا ہوں یہ کہہ دے کوئی آ کر اس آس پہ جیتا ہوں یہ کہہ دے کوئی آ کر چل تجھ کو نجف میں اب سرکار بلاتے ہیں چل تجھ کو نجف میں اب سرکار بلاتے ہیں ہم نام علی لے کر مشکل کو ہٹاتے ہیں ہم نام علی لے کر مشکل کو ہٹاتے ہیں ہم ناد علی پڑھ کر دشمن کو ہراتے ہیں ہم نام علی لے کے مشکل کو ہٹاتے ہیں ہم نام علی لے کے مشکل کو ہٹاتے ہیں اور ہم ناد علی پڑھ کر دشمن کو ہراتے ہیں ہم ناد علی پڑھ کر دشمن کو ہراتے ہیں محفل میں جو آتے ہیں جو ذکر علی سننے محفل میں جو آتے ہیں جو ذکر علی سننے دامان طلب بھر کر محفل سے وہ جاتے ہیں
یا علی جیو جیو
دامان طلب بھر کر محفل سے وہ جاتے ہیں محبوب کی محفل کو محبوب سجاتے ہیں
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہ
نعرے
زیارت زیارت السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا امیر المؤمنین السلام علیکم یا فاطمة الزہرا السلام علیکم یا خدیجة الکبریٰ السلام علیکم یا حسن المجتبی السلام علیکم یا حسین الشہید کربلا وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن عجل الله فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وظهوره السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين